Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shaunna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Well, hello everyone, and Happy New Year to you. It is the first episode of the new year, and we are wrapping up this month the last of season 2 for the podcast. I've got 2 more incredible women for you to meet. I've been introducing you to women-owned businesses this season, and I've got 2 more that didn't quite make it into December, so we're rolling around to January. I'm going to kick off season 3 in February, and we are going to shift our focus, and I am going to highlight authors and introduce you to a bunch of new books. So I thought that would be an appropriate way for us to start this new year. Listen, a lot of people are talking about New Year's resolutions and setting goals. I have decided to do some fun things. And I do what everybody does in January, and that is reassess my eating habits because the scale is not so friendly come January after lots of indulging in December and over the holidays. But beyond just okay, let me do some things to get back to a healthier me, I try to take the pressure off and not set like crazy. I'm going to join a gym and start working out 3 times a week when I haven't worked out for 6 months. Like I don't do crazy shit like that, but I do attempt to embrace new healthy habits. And so what I'm going to do this year is, again, switch it up. And I'll share with you what I'm doing just in case that's something that you, that fits better for you. So I am deciding that I'm going to attempt to adopt a new healthy habit each week. And I know that it takes 21 plus days to create a new habit. And so if I introduce myself to one a week, give it a chance to kind of ruminate, some are going to stick. And quite honestly, some are not. So I figure if I start one a week, by the end of the year, maybe I've got 50%, I've got 26 new healthy habits, then that seems to be a win. And honestly, if it's just a handful, even that is incredible just to make some shifts. So I started actually with the last week of the year, and I stopped putting delicious creamer in my coffee. Now, I have done the black coffee thing before, so it was a fairly easy switch, but mostly it was just a reminder for me because I could take or leave the creamer. It really was just a reminder for me each morning, since coffee is the first thing I consume, to shift my focus to what, healthy choices and being conscious about what I am consuming. So that was the first thing I started doing. And then I decided to do dry January for the first time in my life. Wish me luck, because the first 2 days were like the longest 2 days of the year. And then I decided that I was going to try the mud water again. Have any of you guys tried this mushroom blend water? It's called mud water, and it's okay. I really want to love it because it's got such incredible health benefits, and it's reduced caffeine from coffee. And so coffee and alcohol were the first 2 to go. So next week, I will be adopting something that I get to do so that I can add something new. And likely it's going to be yoga. Anyhow, that is how I'm approaching the New Year's resolutions this year, in a very easy way to test out some new healthy habits and see what sticks. And then I always set a reading goal, and it has been 24 books for the last, I don't even know, 5 or 6 years. And I've yet to reach it, but I got closer last year than I ever have. I think it was 14 or 15 books I read. And I started reading a new book at the end of the year, and I finished it on New Year's Day. And I thought, well, here we go. I've already finished a book. I'm just knocking off those goals left and right. No, just kidding. It does make us feel good to check off something from our list. But the first book that I have read this year, I wanted to share with you guys, and that is called Spirited. Now, it is by Rebecca Rosen, and the subtitle is Unlock Your Psychic Self and Change Your Life. Now, I have a little bit of a backstory before I tell you about the book itself, and that was how I learned about Rebecca and her book. And that was on Danielle Page's podcast, The Cosmic Body. Now, I have been following Danielle for several years now, and she is an astrologer. And I was going to say astrologer by trade, but actually she started out as an interior designer. And she basically uses astrology as her main tool to teach people how to tap into their own intuition. And she teaches so much more than that, but it's easiest to describe it as astrology. And so her podcast, The Cosmic Body, is super fascinating. I've learned all sorts of things from her and from that show. But she introduced us to Rebecca Rosen, and she talked about this book. But Danielle specifically talked about how incredible this book was to her as her gifts were coming out, her psychic abilities, her psychic gifts. And she didn't know what to do with it. And she didn't know what was happening and couldn't make sense of it. And she came across Rebecca's book, and she said, and I can't remember if she came across it during the time that she was going through her awakening or if it was after that, but basically said this book was instrumental in her understanding what her gifts were. So naturally, I was curious and I put it on my Christmas wish list, and it was one of the books I received, and I zipped my way through this book. And what I really love most about this one in particular is it's obviously an informative, self-helpy type book, which we know I'm all about. But I really appreciate how it can be used as a reference moving forward. So I really hate when I read a book and then there's nothing else for me to do with it beyond maybe share it with a friend or pass it on. I love a reason to keep a book and to continually use it and reference it. That to me is the epitome of like, this is a 5-star incredible book. So that is my rating for this book, is 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. So I'm going to tell everyone that it is a must read. But let me tell you about what it is about. So she walks you through her own experience coming to terms with her psychic gifts. So she's a medium and she talks to dead people. And that's kind of her words. But she uses this gift and her ability to connect with spirits that have passed over to help people heal and process grief and essentially move forward into joy and happiness in their life. So she's using her gift to help people in that way. And it answered a lot of questions for me, but it also confirmed a lot about what I had already come to feel and know is true about death and the afterlife. And so I love when a book just kind of confirms what we already feel is true. And that definitely happened for me with this book. But what she does, not only kind of walking you through how she uncovered her gift, and her story is really interesting. So it's definitely worthwhile read for that alone. But then she takes it into kind of a few steps forward and walks you through how she uses it today to work with her clients. She gives you examples of readings that she's done and how it's helped people just to connect to these people that they have lost. And essentially to confirm that we never actually die. Our spirits always continue. But what she also does is take it a step further. So not only can we find healing through our grief by connecting to our loved ones. She shows you how you can connect to your own intuition and teach you how to do this for yourself. The reason she does this is because that's ultimately where your healing comes from, is by connecting to your own intuition and to be able to figure out what is at the root of what is causing you angst or pain or problems today in your life. And so even if it's not grieving the loss of a loved one, there may be something else that you're clinging to that is preventing you from becoming your best self. And when you have the ability to tap into your own intuition and get your own answers, I love, love, love nothing more than when someone with a gift, a mentor, a guide, a guru, whatever you want to call this person that we can somehow put up on a pedestal, when they teach other people how to do that thing it is that they do for ourselves, that to me is like, I don't know, the ultimate pay it forward ripple effect when you teach other people how to tap into our own inner knowing and really discover the power that we all have. That to me is just incredible. And healers are the same. Somewhere along the line, someone said, a healer is never really the one to do the healing. They're only the conduit to help the person find their own healing. And I definitely feel that that's true and have seen that hold true in my life. And so I feel like Rebecca is the epitome of that. She is teaching people how to heal themselves by connecting to their intuition. And that is what this book is all about. So the other reason that I love, love, love this book was because she talks so much about meditation. It was like, if you think I'm a broken record on meditation, like she took it to another level, which I am here for. But she gives you some really specific, super simple, easy meditations to do. And so I love when there's a specific example or reason to do a meditation, and then there's like 3 steps to do it. So she says the same thing that I've said, which is it doesn't take a lot of time. Listen, I'm here for the hour-long meditations. They're incredible when you have the time for it, but most of us don't have the time for that. And so a lot of her meditations are 5 to 10 minutes max, and she is just teaching you how to quiet your thoughts and focus in any one direction at a time. And so I love that she has broken down those meditations in that way. And there's an appendix at the back that walks you through those specific meditations. Anyhow, I found the book really easy to read, which I appreciate. I love a smart book like anybody else, but if it's using too many big words and takes me too long to really understand it, then the content gets lost for me. So I appreciate an easy read that is approachable, which this was. And I just thought it was really incredible to teach people how to connect to your own intuition in a way that doesn't feel super woo-woo and felt simple and easy. So, Spirited by Rebecca Rosen. I highly recommend it. You should check it out. Also, if you haven't heard of Danielle Page, you should definitely give her podcast a listen and go find her on Instagram. I've learned a lot from her and I find her super fascinating. She has a Cosmic Body Collective. That's what she calls her membership. And that's where I do my moon circles. Danielle leads those. And it just really is. And again, it's an incredible way to tap into your own intuition, to connect with yourself. And that's where our power really lies. So yet another mentor teaching us how to do that shit for ourselves, which I love. Okay, so that was my book review. And I thought that that would be a really fun way moving forward into season 3 when I start talking to all these different authors in between as I finish my books. So here's the thing. I'm going to hold myself accountable to read those books I said I'm going to read this year. And 2, I'm going to give you a little content with some book reviews and tell you which books are landing really well for me and which ones might miss the mark. And then you can read them and decide for yourself. So there you go, my friends. My first book review of the year and a little preview of where we're going in this next season. I am super excited as we near the finish line and get closer and closer to 100th episode, because I am going to plan a big 100th episode party. And I hope you all will join me for that when it gets close. It looks like we're targeting about the middle of the year. So I've got some big goals for myself this year, as always. But honestly, wanted to give you guys a little bit of permission to take it easy on the goals and resolutions. I am here for big goals all day long. I set monstrous, ridiculous goals for myself personally. But also, I think it's okay just to say, you know what, today I'm going to wake up and do a little bit better today than I did yesterday. And maybe tomorrow I'll do a little bit better than today, because honestly, we're trying to do a lot of things in this life. And I think being happy and finding our joy and making time to play are all really important things that tend to get a little lost. So, in true contradictory fashion, I'm a Gemini, so it's often called two sides or two-faced. And at first I thought that meant I was two-faced and talking behind people's backs when I first heard that description. But what I've come to learn about being a Gemini is that there are two sides to kind of everything for me. And so if there are two choices, I often will say yes and not either or. And so I find that holding true in my life all the time. I am extremely technical at times, and I'm highly creative, and those two things seem to be opposites, and yet they are both me. But anyways, in true Gemini fashion, I am doing dry January, or at least attempting a dry January. And then I'm also this weekend going to be setting some goals for myself by writing goals down on a bottle of champagne. So as I reach the goals throughout the year, I can pop the bottle of champagne. And I saw that, I think, on Instagram. And I thought, well, that's a fun way to just accomplish your goal and have something to look forward to and have a bit of a celebration. And I'm getting some friends together to do it. But it's not lost on me that I am going to spend an evening with friends not drinking while I'm writing on champagne bottles. Well, wish me luck on that one. And feel free to take it if you think that sounds like a fun way to celebrate your goals as you reach them throughout the year, because that is what I am here for, is finding fun ways to celebrate as we knock those goals out of the park and we reach them. And the other thing I will say about reaching goals is that sometimes we need to set some small ones for ourselves. So I don't know about you guys, but after the holidays, I tend to, more years than not, find myself in a little bit of a slump. And sometimes I call it a funk. Sometimes it's been full out depression. This year, it is like a nagging little noise in the back of my mind that feels like it's ready to just pull me under at any point. And here's what I will tell you. Setting tiny goals is good too. So some days, just setting the goal that I'm going to get showered and put on some makeup is going to be an accomplishment that I should celebrate. Whether that is I go out in public and I feel good about myself, or I take a selfie to commemorate something I've done that day, whatever the case may be. Finding a way to celebrate our wins is what is important, even if those wins are super fucking tiny. So I want to also give you permission to set small, realistic goals so you have something that you can look at to commemorate that you have accomplished. And in that vein, what I did, I think it was the last day of the year, was I looked back through. I wanted to put together a list of all my accomplishments for the year, and I would challenge you to do the same thing. And for me, at first glance, when I looked back at last year, there was a lot that did not go the way I had hoped it would. And there was a lot of disappointments if I looked on the surface. Also, I'll tell you, that's how we are conditioned to think, what is missing and what is lacking and not what we did well. So this is a an activity that takes a little bit of practice. And so what I did was sit down and go through all of my photos for the year. And it took me a little longer than I anticipated. I had done a lot of really fun things this year. Even though I was thinking at first about everything that was missing and what I didn't quite accomplish or what I didn't get to do, I made a list that was probably 20 to 30 items long. And it was fun events with friends, it was concerts, it was little getaways, really fun parties I planned. But being able to look back through the things that I chose to take photos of and look at what I accomplished was a really good, positive motivator. So, especially for those of you who may be feeling a little bit down in the dumps or a little bit in the funk of things, this can be a really good, helpful activity to focus on something positive and actually give yourself a little pat on the back for what you did accomplish. And I found that particular activity to be very rewarding. And it actually helped me look at what my goals were for this year a little differently. And so I was able to look forward and think about not only professional goals I want to reach and how much money I want to make and the things I want to do for my children, which honestly are always given. But it let me shift my focus a little bit to what parties do I want to plan? What fun social events do I want to be a part of? Are there any concerts I want to go to? And it really allowed me to shift my focus more to what do I want to experience this year and less about what I want to produce or accomplish. So that would be the last little piece of advice I would have for you when it comes to setting goals for this new year and looking forward at what you'd like to accomplish. Maybe also think about what you would like to experience and how you want to feel. You know, a lot of people are also setting a word intention for the year where they'll select a single word to be the focus of the year, whether it is faith or balance or health, prosperity. I think when we can simplify what we're hoping to do in the new year with how we want to feel, it helps us actually accomplish it a little bit easier, because that is, after all, the secret with manifesting is focusing on how the thing you want will make you feel. And when we embody that feeling, that's when the thing comes to fruition. So anyways, I love to find simple little ways to kind of hack my way through this human life. And, you know, reading is one of my loves. And as I walk away from a book that I started to write and spent most of last year writing, I am writing a new book and I don't know what it's going to be about yet. I don't know where it's going, and I'm letting it lead me. And I think that is going to be a much more fun way to write and share my thoughts with you guys. So anyways, I wanted to share that book review with you guys, Spirited, because it really did leave a lasting impact on me. And I thought it was an excellent choice for being my first book of the year. And also my thoughts on those pesky New Year's resolutions. So good luck setting some big lofty goals. Don't forget to set some little tiny ones and focus on how you want to feel, my friends, because that, after all, that is the goal. So with that, I will bring you a new interview next week. And I have decided to take the pressure off myself, and I will bring you these Simply Shaunna episodes whenever the hell I want to, in between my weekly episodes. So those may not be regularly scheduled, but I will bring them to you when I finish books and when I have something important to say. So until then, I will talk to you soon. Have an amazing start to your year. Did you like this episode, or did you love it? Inquiring minds want to know. The best way to support this show is to subscribe and leave a review. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.